Okay, folks, we're about to get into the mid-season show, but first I wanted to address a controversial play that happened at the end of the Texas Tornado Florida Whales game. Several viewers had disagreed with the call of a complete pass to Devontae Hill in the fourth quarter of that game. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure the referees got it right. But what I'd like to do right now is present to you, the viewer, what the AEFL considers to be a completed pass. So any front of base contact, that's the front of the player's base, with the rounded, beveled washer that the target ball sits on is considered a completed pass. In front of you, you'll see three players with three different base fronts. Here's a player with a straight front base. This player has a rounded boat or bullet base. And here's Devontae Hill, who was at the center of that controversy. He's got a regular rounded base. Anytime any of these different style of bases make front of base contact with the base of the target ball, it's a completed pass. Like that, or like that. In addition, I also allow a completed pass if any part of the figure, let's say this hand here, if that touches any part of the target ball, that's also a completed pass, like that. But side of base is not a completed pass, nor is back of base. Now, here's where we get into a little bit of a gray area, the front corner of base. I consider the front corner of base part of front of base contact. You can see the front corner as a sharp edge on a straight base, a little bit harder to make out on a boat base, but it is there. And on the regular rounded base of Devontae Hill, it's right there. There's probably a lot of different ways that guys playing in leagues with passing sticks view this, or guys just playing solitaire with passing sticks view this. In the AEFL, we do count contact with front corner as a catch. And I'm going to show you a couple examples right here. This would be a catch. And this would be a catch. And I think specifically on the play in question, I think something like this happened, and you just had a very bad angle on it on the replay. I think it was even still a little more like this, but it still caught the corner of that base. Here's some more examples of a catch. This is with the bullet base, but it's still the same idea. As long as some part of that corner hits that base on the target ball, the AEFL is going to consider it a catch. Again, I think you saw something like this, only at a very bad angle from the replay. And another thing going on here is Hill's base and the base of the target ball are both black. And when both objects are the same color like that, precise detail can be lost. A very tough call, no doubt. But again, this is football. There's always going to be controversial calls. Let's switch gears and get into the mid-season wrap-up. Here are the current standings. As you can see, the Ohio Comets have the league's best record at 5-0, leading the Pennsylvania Bucks in the East by 1 game. Viewers of the channel who watched the preseason predictions probably won't be surprised that Ohio is doing so well. I certainly expected them to do well. All of the remaining games are division games, beginning with 1-4 Virginia in Week 6. Meanwhile, Pennsylvania has surpassed my expectations. They've only lost 1 game, that 1 game to Ohio. They've got the second best record in the league, and they do get one more shot, the Comets, on the last game of the season. And in the West, Nevada and Texas are tied atop the division, but as of Week 5, Texas has the tiebreaker over Nevada right now because they beat Nevada earlier in the season. In that preseason prediction show, I did think Texas would be the league's second best team, or even challenging Ohio for the top spot. And they've fallen short of those expectations, even though they technically lead the West right now. And as far as Nevada goes, they're a surprise. I didn't think they'd have the firepower to contend with the top teams. They are the one team that really gave the Comets a scare in the game they played against each other The Comets were fortunate to win that game. Just a note, Texas and Nevada will meet for the second time in Game 7. That game is likely to determine the winner of the division. Now let's flip the discussion over to the next 2 weeks of scheduled games. As we look in the upcoming schedule for Week 6, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to film an entire game for Week 6, simply because there's not a game in the Week 6 schedule that has that big of impact on the standings. If I have games that are tightly contested in the fourth quarter, I will absolutely film the closing moments of those games to present to you. Instead, we're going to focus on Week 7 and that coming battle for the division between Nevada and Texas, highlighted below. Now we'll look at the current playoff picture. If the season were to end today, the Comets with the best record in the league would get an automatic bid in the championship game. Texas would win the West by virtue of their tiebreaker over Nevada. Pennsylvania, who has the second best record in the game but is second in the East, would go on to face Texas in a semifinal playoff game. The winner of that, of course, would play the Comets in the championship game. That's the way it looks right now, but we've got 5 weeks to go. A lot of football to be played. As always, I want to thank you for watching. More action to come.